Ever feel like you're just kind of along for the ride in your own life? Like watching things happen instead of actually making them happen?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you guys requested a deep dive on the power of awareness.
Right.
And we're about to explore some ideas that might just turn that whole feeling upside down.
Yeah, I think people are going to be really interested in this.
We're diving into a book from way back in 1952
Wow.
called The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard.
Neville Goddard. Such a fascinating figure. Even back then, he was talking about the power of the mind to shape reality
Yeah.
in ways that are only now becoming more mainstream. It's pretty amazing,
Yeah, 1952. That's like before color TV was even a thing.
right? Crazy.
But this book is about something that's arguably more relevant now than ever before.
I think so, too.
With all the information overload we face today,
Oh, right.
it's easy to feel powerless.
Yeah.
But what if we actually have way more control than we realize?
That's exactly what Goddard explores in The Power of Awareness.
Yeah.
He starts with this incredibly potent concept of I am,
Okay.
that basic feeling of being aware, of existing.
Yeah, I think we all experience that.
Yeah,
But I have a feeling there's more to it than just acknowledging that we exist.
right. It's not just about acknowledging it. It's about recognizing the power that's inherent in that simple statement, I am. Goddard argues that there's only one I am,
Okay.
manifesting in infinite forms. You, me, everyone else. We're all expressions of this one consciousness.
Okay, hold on a second. Are you saying that there's just one giant consciousness
Yeah.
and we're all like little pieces of it?
Think of it this way. Imagine a piece of steel, whether it's magnetized or not. It's still the same steel, right?
Okay.
It's just that the arrangement of its molecules has changed, giving it different properties.
Okay.
Our consciousness is similar. The core you is always there. It's just that the arrangement of your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, it changes how you experience reality.
So that feeling of I am, that awareness of being, that's the source of my power.
Exactly.
And what I believe about that I am, whether it's I am successful or I am loved or even I am stuck, that actually shapes my reality.
Exactly. And it's not just about wishful thinking. It's about truly embodying the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Goddard calls this the power of assumption. He argues that what you assume to be true about yourself becomes your reality.
Okay, but how do you assume something to be true when your current reality might be telling you the complete opposite? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm struggling financially, how do I assume abundance when my bank account's screaming otherwise?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. Goddard uses this very powerful analogy of a moth so drawn to a flame that it throws itself in and becomes one with it.
Wow.
He's saying to truly know something, to truly experience it, you can't just observe it from a distance. You have to become it.
Whoa. Okay, that's intense. So it's not just about thinking about what you want. It's about fully embodying the feeling of already having it.
Exactly. It's about closing your eyes and vividly imagining yourself living that reality,
Yeah.
feeling the emotions as if it were already true.
So it's like an actor getting into character,
Yes.
except you're not playing a role, you're creating your own reality.
That's a great way to put it. And the more vividly you can imagine it, the more powerfully you're shaping your reality. Goddard emphasizes how crucial attention is in this process.
Okay.
He says where you focus your attention is like shining a spotlight. What's illuminated becomes real for you. And the more vivid your imagination, the stronger your attention becomes.
So if I'm constantly replaying negative thoughts or dwelling on my fears, I'm basically giving them a starring role in my life.
Unfortunately, yes. But the good news is the same principle applies to what you want to experience. If you can shift your focus to the positive, to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, that's what will start to take shape in your world.
Okay, that makes sense. But I have to admit, this all sounds a bit like, I don't know, magic. Like if I just imagine something strongly enough, it will magically appear.
It's not magic in the sense of pulling a rabbit out of a hat. It's about understanding the creative power of your own consciousness. You're not conjuring something out of thin air.
Right.
You're aligning your inner world with the reality you want to experience.
So it's more about becoming a vibrational match for what you desire.
That's a great way to think about it. And Goddard emphasizes that this isn't a passive process. He stresses the importance of actively shaping your thoughts and beliefs. In fact, he even suggests a specific technique for training your attention.
Oh.
Reviewing your day in reverse order each night before you go to sleep.
Reviewing my day in reverse.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Why in reverse?
It's like doing reps at the mental gym.
Okay.
By mentally retracing your steps, you're exercising your ability to focus your attention. And a strong attention muscle is key to controlling where your energy goes, which ultimately shapes your reality.
Interesting. So it's about strengthening that attention muscle so you can direct it toward what you truly want to create in your life.
Exactly. And this leads us to another fascinating idea that Goddard explores, the concept of renunciation and acceptance.
Okay. Renunciation and acceptance. That sounds a little paradoxical. What exactly does he mean by that?
He's talking about the importance of renouncing negative thoughts and assumptions, but not in the sense of suppressing them.
Okay.
It's about consciously shifting your focus to the desired state.
So it's not about pretending that problems don't exist, but about choosing where you invest your energy.
Exactly.
Like instead of dwelling on, I'm afraid of failing, you shift your focus to, I am confident and capable.
That's the essence of it. And
Yeah.
that's where acceptance comes in. Not passively accepting what you don't want, but actively accepting the reality of your desired state, feeling it as though it's already true.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's about making a conscious choice to focus on the positive,
Yep.
on what you want to create, and letting go of the negative thoughts that are holding you back. But how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
It's one thing to say shift your focus, but our minds tend to have a mind of their own.
Right. It's
But-
not always easy, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And Goddard offers some really compelling examples of people who've used this principle to completely transform their lives. We call them case histories.
Case histories, you mean like real-life examples of people who put these ideas into practice?
Exactly.
Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Absolutely. There are some pretty amazing stories in the book. For instance, there's one about a soldier who was stationed in Louisiana during World War II,
Okay.
and he desperately wanted to go home.
Yeah.
He kept applying for a discharge,
Yeah.
but he kept getting rejected.
So he was stuck there, feeling powerless to change his situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I can relate to that feeling.
But then he remembered what Goddard taught about the power of assumption. So every night, this soldier would vividly imagine himself back in his New York City apartment, walking through each room, feeling the familiar surroundings, falling asleep in his own bed.
He basically created a mental movie of his desired reality.
Exactly.
Mm.
And he did this for 8 nights straight, really immersing himself in that feeling of being home.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat here. What happened?
On the 9th day, he was called to his commanding officer's office.
Wow.
And completely out of the blue, his discharge was approved.
No way.
He was on a train home within hours.
That's incredible. It's like his persistent imagining somehow shifted the circumstances to make his desire a reality.
That's the power of aligning your inner world with your desired outcome. And it's not just about material things.
Yeah.
Goddard talks about applying this to intangible qualities too, like confidence, creativity, or even overcoming fear.
So if I'm feeling stuck or afraid, I can use my imagination to step into a feeling of courage or clarity. That's a really empowering thought.
It absolutely is. The
Yeah.
key is to vividly imagine yourself embodying those qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Feel what it would be like to move through the world with unwavering confidence or to tap into a wellspring of creative energy.
Yeah.
The more real you can make it feel, the more you're shifting your reality.
Okay. But what about when we're dealing with other people?
Right. Yeah.
Like, let's say you have a difficult boss or coworker. Can you really change their behavior just by changing your thoughts about them?
Goddard addresses this directly with another case history.
Hmm.
This one's about a costume designer who was having a terrible time working with a demanding theater producer.
Oh, yeah.
He was constantly criticizing her work, and she was convinced he was just being unfair.
Ooh, I know that feeling. It's so easy to get caught up in blaming others when things aren't going our way.
Right. But, as Goddard points out, the way others treat us is often a reflection of our own assumptions about them.
Hmm.
This designer, she admitted that she was mentally rehearsing arguments with the producer every morning on her way to the theater. She was picturing him criticizing her and then imagining herself telling him off.
So she's basically programming him to be difficult without even realizing it.
Exactly. She was subconsciously projecting her negativity onto him.
Wow.
But then she decided to try a different approach. She started imagining him complimenting her work, thanking him for his kindness,
Okay.
and picturing their interactions being positive and supportive.
Wait, so she completely flipped the script in her mind. I'm dying to know what happened.
His behavior completely changed.
No way.
He became encouraging and appreciative,
Wow.
and their working relationship was totally transformed.
That's amazing. It's like she cast a spell on him with her imagination.
It shows how our thoughts and beliefs have a tangible impact on the world around us. And this principle, it works both ways.
Right.
When we assume the best in others, we often bring out the best in them. But it's important to remember that this isn't about trying to manipulate or control other people. It's about recognizing that we are all interconnected.
Right.
And our thoughts and feelings, they create an energetic field that influences those around us.
Okay, this is all starting to feel a bit like a superpower.
I know.
But the book also cautions against trying to force things to happen,
Yes.
right? It talks about this concept of effortless action, which honestly sounds a little contradictory.
I understand why that might seem confusing.
Yeah.
It's not about sitting back and expecting things to magically fall into your lap. It's more about aligning with the energy of what you want.
Okay.
Setting a powerful intention,
Mhm.
and then trusting the universe to guide the details. Goddard emphasizes that we need to surrender to a higher power,
Okay.
to trust that the universe will orchestrate the perfect outcome.
So it's about letting go of the need to control every step and having faith that things will work out in the best possible way. That takes a lot of trust, especially in a world where we're constantly being told to hustle and make things happen.
It does. But Goddard argues that this surrender is essential for allowing our desires to manifest.
Okay.
He compares it to planting a seed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing.
Right.
You'd trust that nature knows what it's doing,
Right.
and you'd provide the seed with what it needs to flourish.
That's a really helpful analogy.
Mhm.
So it's about creating the right conditions for our desires to grow and then letting go and trusting the process.
Yes.
But what exactly does he mean by higher power? Does he mean God in the traditional religious sense?
Not necessarily. He uses terms like the Father or God,
Okay.
but it's more about recognizing the universal consciousness that we're all a part of,
Yeah.
that creative power that animates everything. He says that our individual consciousness is like a wave on the ocean of this infinite I am.
So when we align with the Father's will, we're basically aligning with the creative power of the universe to manifest our desires. But how do we even know what the Father's will is?
Right.
That seems pretty abstract.
Goddard says that the Father's will is always for our highest good, for our expansion and evolution.
Okay.
And he suggests that one way to align with it is to recognize our own personal impotence.
Hold on. Impotence? That doesn't sound very empowering.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about being powerless in the negative sense. It's about acknowledging that we can't force things to happen through sheer willpower alone.
So it's about surrendering the ego's need to control everything and trusting in a greater intelligence that knows what's best for us.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about letting go of the struggle and allowing the universe to guide us.
Yeah.
But I know what you might be thinking. What about those times when we really want something, we try to apply the law of assumption,
Right.
and it just doesn't seem to work?
Yeah, that's definitely something I've experienced.
Yeah.
You start to wonder if this whole law of assumption thing is just a bunch of wishful thinking.
Goddard addresses precisely. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until it no longer feels like a stretch of the imagination at all. It becomes your new normal.
That makes a lot of sense. But let's be real. Even if we're doing all the right things, visualizing, feeling it, cultivating that naturalness,
Right.
there are going to be times when we face setbacks, right? What happens when things don't go according to plan?
Well, that's to be expected. It's not a magic formula that guarantees instant results every time. It's a practice, a process of aligning yourself with what you want to create.
Yeah.
And like any practice, it takes time, effort, and even some bumps along the way.
So how do we deal with those bumps? It's easy to get discouraged and think, well, I guess this whole law of assumption thing doesn't really work.
That's where faith comes in, Goddard says. But he's not talking about blind faith or believing in something against all evidence.
So what kind of faith is he talking about?
It's about trusting in the power of your own consciousness to create reality.
Hmm.
Believing in your own inherent ability to manifest your desires. It's a faith that's grounded in experience, in the understanding that our thoughts and beliefs have a real impact on the world around us.
So it's about developing a deep trust in the process, knowing that even if things don't always go exactly as planned, there's a greater intelligence at work guiding us towards our highest good.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not just victims of circumstance. We are powerful creators with the ability to shape our reality.
That is a very empowering thought. But I have to ask, if we have this much power to shape our reality, what about destiny? Does that mean our lives are predetermined? Do we even have free will?
That's a question that has puzzled philosophers for centuries. Goddard offers a really fascinating perspective on this. He says that our destiny is not a fixed point,
Yeah.
but an infinite series of individual destinies, each one leading to the next.
So it's not like we're on a railroad track headed towards a single predetermined outcome.
No.
It's more like we're navigating a vast open ocean with the freedom to choose our course.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Hmm.
We're constantly creating our destiny, moment by moment, through our choices and assumptions. As our consciousness expands, we gain more and more control over the direction of our lives.
That is so inspiring. It really puts the power back in our hands. You know, one thing that really struck me about this book is this idea that our assumptions actually create an atmosphere around us, a kind of energetic field that attracts the corresponding experiences.
That's such a powerful concept.
Hmm.
Goddard argues that our thoughts and feelings are not just internal experiences.
Right.
They have a real impact on the world around us.
So if we're constantly dwelling on negativity, we're basically creating a storm cloud that follows us wherever we go.
Yeah.
But if we cultivate a radiant, joyful energy, we become like a beacon of light, attracting positivity and abundance.
Exactly. It's like we're walking around with these invisible antennas,
Right.
broadcasting our thoughts and feelings into the world. And those broadcasts, they're constantly interacting with the thoughts and feelings of others, creating a collective reality.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. It really highlights the importance of choosing our thoughts and beliefs wisely, not just for our own sake, but for the sake of the world around us. Our individual consciousness is like a drop of water in the vast ocean of collective consciousness. Every thought, every feeling contributes to the overall quality of that ocean.
Absolutely. It's a profound responsibility, but
Mhm.
also an incredible opportunity. If we want to create a more beautiful, peaceful, and loving world, we need to start by cultivating those qualities within ourselves.
I love that. It all starts with us. You know, this has been such an amazing deep dive, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of Neville Goddard's work. But I have to say, it's incredibly inspiring to think that we have the power to shape our own reality,
Yeah.
to create a life that's filled with joy, abundance, and meaning.
It's truly a call to action, an invitation to step into our full potential as creators.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question. If you could choose one aspect of your life to transform, what would it be? And what would it feel like to already be living that reality? Keep those imaginations firing. And remember, you are the architect of your reality. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep believing in the power of your own awareness.